Good evening, everyone. You are in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Thursday, November the 17th, 2016. Good to have you all here for our second of three shows. Pardon me, three shows this week. Hope your week has been treating you well here as we are approaching quickly the weekend. Um, and it's obvious, and obviously, next week will be a very short week for a lot of people. So obviously, a lot of people are looking forward to that. Again, hope your week is treating you well. We're here for an all wrestling show tonight, but we'll talk more about that and more in just a few moments. As always, want to start off by reminding you all the ways which you can interact and contribute to our show. Have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight401@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight401. Feel free to use the hashtag ITSpotlight401, or feel free to create your own hashtag as long as it starts with hashtag ITS. Please, if you would, that way it helps promote our show. And also, as long as it's not as what your tweet is not disrespectful, offensive, or insulting to anybody, that's all we ask. You can say what you say. You can say what you want without being that way. That's the point. There's enough of that going on in the world. We don't need more of that. So please, if you could, we appreciate that if you could do all that. You can also find us on Facebook. Search for In the Spotlight 401 on Facebook and make sure you like our page upon finding it. I'm really tired. It's been a long week, so bear with me here. I might stumble over my words a little bit, more so than usual, so just bear with me on that. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, tonight is an all-wrestling show. We'll be previewing WWE's Survivor Series pay-per-view event. That'll be coming to you on the WWE Network this Sunday, beginning, I think, at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I think it's a special start time, so we'll be obviously doing what we always do with these events, previewing all the matches, making predictions, analyzing the matches, and then as always, as much as time permits, we'll address questions and comments from the fans. So any of you out there that have not submitted a question or comment yet, you can still do so during the show. We take a little bit from before the show, and we take a little bit from what we received during the show. So if you'd like to still send in a question or comment, you may do so by email, Facebook, and Twitter using the information I've already given to you. So make sure if you want to do that you do that. And again, as time will permit how many we get to. And if we do not get to you, as I've always said in the past, remember, we do save everything that's sent in, so we can always revisit it, or you can send it in again next time we do a show like this. Just don't be mad if you don't. We only have so much time. So, yeah, so that's what's coming up tonight. Tomorrow, we have the In the Spotlight Football Blitz. I do have to make a slight adjustment. We will not be starting at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Instead, we'll be starting at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. So a half hour. And a lot of times that's what happens anyway, but I just decided I'll just announce that we're starting at 3 o'clock from Eastern Time. This way you all know what to expect. So we'll do what we always do. We'll look back at the weekend that just passed in college football and the NFL, look ahead to this weekend. Obviously, there's a Thursday night football game tonight of significance. We'll talk about that. We'll do all that on tomorrow's In the Spotlight Football Blitz, again, scheduled for 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Next week, 2 shows, and I can now confirm that both those shows will be all in one day, and they will be on Tuesday. So Tuesday, we will have our In the Spotlight Football Blitz. Right now, it's scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, but obviously that's give or take a few minutes. So 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. So our next 2 shows will be Football Blitz shows. But that's the way it works. That's what we got to do. We did it like this last year. I think it's the best thing for everybody. So In the Spotlight, after tomorrow, the next edition In the Spotlight Football Blitz will be on Tuesday, which is November the 22nd, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then that night, we'll have our Tuesday night primetime show, which is scheduled for 9 o'clock from Eastern Time. Part of my dog, I apologize. He's barking at somebody outside. Live podcasting, everybody. That's the way it works. Yeah, so as I mentioned, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday night, we'll have our regular Tuesday night primetime show. We'll cover everything that we have to cover in sports outside of football, because obviously we'll do football Tuesday afternoon. And then, of course, we'll talk about the fallout from WWE Survivor Series, any other big wrestling news we have to get to, and, of course, entertainment, box office beat, TV highlights, anything else that we have to cover entertainment-wise, we will. All of that on Tuesday, so it'll be Tuesday night. So that will be a jam-packed show. So 2 shows for us, all in one day, this coming Tuesday, November the 22nd. Again, In the Spotlight Football Blitz, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Our regular Tuesday night sports entertainment combo primetime show, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And those will be our only shows next week. We'll be preempted Thursday and Friday next week for the holiday. And then, of course, and I guess I mentioned earlier this week, we'll be back on track the week after with 3 shows, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Right back on schedule we will be with the Football Blitz on Friday, our regular Tuesday and Thursday primetime shows back in play. So that's a little insight into what's going on next week and the week after. Just wanted to make sure I announced it because a lot of this I had talked about Tuesday, but I didn't confirm it. Well, now I can confirm all that, so you all have that information now, and now you can plan accordingly. So interestingly enough, I think this is the first time in quite a while that we're on the air on time. I mean, give or take a few minutes, obviously, but for the most part, usually lately we've been starting like 20, 25 minutes late. Tonight we're on time, so you got to give us credit for that, which is funny because my co-host will probably be incredibly late because he doesn't expect me to be on time for whatever reason. But we are on time tonight, so that's good. And I'm going to stall now because he's not on, and obviously I have to post a social media link, so I will do that right now. You would think I would post that before I make all these announcements, but that's why this is why I make announcements at the beginning of shows and at the end of shows, because a lot of times people come in late, and you have to look. You have to repeat. You learn in this business, like not this business, but like when you're doing stuff like this, you learn that you have to be repetitive. People think you don't, but you do. You do, because people forget things. People have short attention spans. I know. I mean, I have a great memory, but honestly, I still have a short attention span. I tend to forget things, even with a great memory. So, it's just the way it goes sometimes. It's just the way it goes. So, you do have to be repetitive because that's the only way that people tend to remember things nowadays. So, as annoying as it is, you kind of have to beat it into people's brains a little bit that, about things. And that way they remember them. So, because I'll tell you something, there have been times in the past where I haven't done that because, people told me, I had a couple of fans tell me, oh, you shouldn't do it that much. And of course, my co-host will tell me that. And, and then I'll get emails from people saying, well, what about this? And what about that? And I'm like, you know what? People forgot. People forgot what was going on. They forgot important dates. They forgot things that were going on. And see what happened? People forgot, and I didn't remind them, and that's why they forgot. So that's why I do it. It's annoying as it might be to some. It's helpful to others. So there you go. So that's why I do it. All right. So we will wait for my co-host to jump on. I got the Twitter links posted. As my dog continues to bark. Again, I apologize. That's what happens when you're doing a live stream. Sometimes you can't avoid stuff like that. So we'll just bear with it. Somebody apparently is making her very unhappy. So she's become kind of like a character on the show with all the barking she does. All right. So again, as we wait for my co-host to jump on, which hopefully will be soon. And you know what? Again, we don't have a lot of ground to cover because if you look at the Survivor Series card, and you wrestling fans out there know this, it's not a big card. It's a lot of multi-guy matches, so it's not like we have a lot of matches to go over. We'll probably have a lot of time for questions and comments tonight because of that. So we can afford to get. This is one of the shows we could afford to start late. And lo and behold, I'm here starting on time for once. So go figure. So that's kind of the way it works. I found that out. The shows that I don't have a whole lot going on and I can afford to be late for, I'm on time. And the ones that we have a lot to do and I can't afford to be late for, I'm late for. So this goes to show you. It goes to show you that that's just the way it works. Okay, so everything's posted. And with everything posted, we can get going. So what I'm going to do is, in preparation for when Mike's going to jump on the air, let me pull up the Survivor Series card. That way we're all ready to go. And we'll be in good shape here. Just get going just when he jumps on here, which should be any time now. Because normally when he jumps on, he's jumping on around 9:15. So, okay, here we go. That way ready and prepared. I hate the way WWE.com does things now. The way they do this is just don't like it. It's hard to kind of used to be able just to go right to the website and get the card fairly easily, and now it's more difficult to do. I don't really like it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so like I said, it's not a very big card, and I don't think they've announced a kickoff match, which makes me wonder if one of these matches might be moved to the kickoff match. I mean, I can't imagine it would because you're starting this at 7 Eastern, and you gotta get the show to at least 11 o'clock. So if you move one of the matches to the kickoff show, that kind of makes it difficult. So I'd imagine that if there's anybody that's not on the card will probably get tossed into the kickoff matches. As my co-host jumps on the line here, or jumps on air, I should say. Mike, you're in the spotlight. Look at me. I was on time. I started at 1 minute after 9. And I don't think you can hear me, or you can't speak, one or the other. Which one is it? Oh. Were you in shock that I was actually on time?
I was actually eating Chinese food.
Oh.
So you interrupted my dinner, so that was rude.
Oh, well, I apologize. But the good news is you'll be hungry in an hour.
I hope not. I don't think I can eat any more food right now.
Okay, so now that you're here, I was just telling people, our fans here that, as we look at the card, we don't have a lot of matches to go over because a lot of these are multiple man matches or multiple woman matches, and we don't have a kickoff show yet. So I'd imagine anybody that doesn't already have a match on the card will be on the kickoff show because they really can't move any matches to the kickoff show.
So Rusev.
Yeah.
Rusev will have a match against a SmackDown guy.
Yeah. I mean, there's really nothing else you can do because, everybody else seems to have a thing going on, and that's the thing. You can't move any of these matches to the kickoff because you have to. I mean, they're starting at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
They have to fill 4 hours. They can't really move anything to the kickoff show. They really can't. So they'd have to just come up with some matches and throw people out there. I mean, they can't even use the Shining Stars. They have a match on the main card.
Do you know who doesn't have a match on the main card? Rusev.
Well, Rusev's about the only guy that it's Rusev and whoever else you can think of. And I really can't think of anybody.
Smack.
I really can't. Huh?
James Ellsworth versus Rusev. Book it.
Well, I would, but Ellsworth is going to be involved in the main. Might be the main event. I don't know. Ellsworth is going to be in on the Team Raw versus Team SmackDown match. So
sure, but he's not wrestling now, is he?
You just want to see Rusev destroy Ellsworth, don't you?
You don't?
I didn't say that. I agree. It'd be fun. It would be fun. Although it would eliminate the possibility of Braun Strowman destroying him in the main event.
Oh, that'd be great. It'd be great.
So, there's options all over the place, Mike.
Yes, lots of options.
All right, so we're gonna get going. We're gonna get going here. Again, we don't have that many matches now. Since no kickoff matches have been announced, we can't obviously preview any, although I was, like Mike has noted, I'd assume Rusev would be involved in one of them, if there is any. So we will just get right to the main card then, and start moving here. We'll start off with the Cruiserweight Championship. WWE Cruiserweight Champion Brian Kendrick versus Kalisto. If Kalisto wins, SmackDown Live gets the entire Cruiserweight division. Let me see. Mike, you can start if you like. Go ahead.
Okay, I guess I will start. Sorry, I'm going to pull up the card.
That's okay.
All right, so it's Kalisto versus Brian Kendrick. Now, there's two schools of thought here. First thought. Brian Kendrick just started his run as this master manipulator plan. Cruiserweight champion. So kind of having him lose to Kalisto cuts him off at the knees.
Mm.
The other hand, there is an honest belief that the cruiserweights would be better on SmackDown. Honest to God belief that the cruiserweights would be better on SmackDown, and I don't disagree with that. Said, I believe Kendrick retains, but that's like a 49 kind of prediction. Hopefully it'll be a decent match. Kalisto apparently had a really rough match with only Lorcan, the former Biff Busiek, SmackDown. Kendrick's been doing good work anyway, but I think Kendrick will win because you kind of need to further that character more often than not. This one could be fairly close. This one could be close.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with you. I think Kendrick's gonna win. I think the only reason they added the stipulation, I know everybody's going into this whole like, oh, they got the cruiserweight show and it's gonna be after SmackDown, so it makes sense to have the cruiserweights on SmackDown. So there will be, but in my mind, it doesn't, because here's the thing: is that cruiserweight show going to be live?
I don't know.
Because if it's going to be live, there's no way they're going to have cruiserweights work SmackDown and turn around and work another show that same night. There's no way. So, I mean, I don't know if it is or isn't, but what go ahead, Mike.
Be taped, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the only way it would work. So, but see, I don't think that has to, like, I don't think they're going for continuity or synergy there. I don't really do. I really don't. So, to me, SmackDown really doesn't have room for cruiserweights. They got a 2-hour show and they barely get through everything as is. Raw has a need for fill time. And I don't think the problem has been giving them time. I think the problem is how they've been utilizing their time, which has just been essentially sending guys out there to have matches. The only guy that's really maximized his time has been Brian Kendrick.
Swan.
Oh, okay, and Swan. That's about it. Everybody else is kind of going out there just having matches. You know what I mean? So they are getting time. It's just that the time is being spent on matches only. So I don't think anything's going to change here. I think they just added a stipulation to make you care about the match, because it's obviously just a filler match because they want Brian Kendrick to have a decent reign before he drops it to whoever else he's going to drop it to. Probably Swan, because I think T.J. Perkins needs a little more time. So I think the Brian Kendrick wins here. It'll probably be a fun match, especially since Kendrick is so good. But I really don't see any changes happening here. I think Kendrick wins. All right, next up, we have Team Raw versus Team SmackDown Live in a 10-on-10 traditional Survivor Series tag team elimination match featuring The New Day, Gallows and Anderson, Sheamus and Cesaro, Enzo and Big Cass, and the Shining Stars for Raw, facing for SmackDown Heath Slater and Rhino, who are the champions. Obviously, New Day champion for Raw, obviously. The Hype Brothers, American Alpha, the Usos, and Breezango. I think Raw is going to win this. I do. First of all, forget the fact. I mean, if you take into account the fact the New Day is on one of the teams, and you know how WWE is on the New Day right now, they just don't lose. Also, the only team on the SmackDown team, other than the Usos, because they obviously value the Usos, that I think they truly value right now is American Alpha, and I think they're the ones that are going to go out of their way to make them look good in this match. And there's probably going to be a big moment there with American Alpha and the New Day. But I think this is just a way, again, this gets everybody in the car. And, look, there's not really any stakes involved here. It's just going to be a fun little time filler match, for bragging rights, et cetera, et cetera. I think Raw is going to win. Because I think SmackDown's going to pick up a couple later on in the show. So I think Raw wins here. I'm guessing it'll end up coming down to like maybe New Day and American Alpha, and then American Alpha get kind of tossed out, and maybe it'll end up being like Breezango that gets pinned by the New Day, because they're not going to have like Heath Slater and Rhino or American Alpha get pinned. So Yeah, I think I'm going with Raw here, Mike.
God, I don't even know who's in this match right now. I know it's I don't even care who's in this match, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if you heard that. Let's see. I just want the matches, Wikipedia. God. New Day, Sheamus, Cesaro, Luke Gallows, Gallows and Anderson, Enzo and Cash, Shining Stars versus Hype Bros, Alpha, Usos, and Breezango. This one, I would say, is a toss-up. I think this one's a toss-up. Yeah, you're right, because they don't like New Day losing very much. So, Raw, I think, would be favored here. I will say, you know what? I'll agree with you here. I guess I'll take Raw. It's because the New Day, they value them over all of them. I think you're wrong. I think they also value Slater and Rhino to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
To focus on Slater and Rhino. So once they do that, I think the SmackDown division will be better. But I know I'm just rambling because my attention's divided and I don't really have much to say about this match because holy crap, I don't care. Team Raw mostly because of the New Day,
Right.
And as noted previously in all these wrestling segments, pick Sheamus. Team Raw, ergo, I'm taking Team Raw.
Team Raw. Okay. All right, next up, we have Team Raw versus Team SmackDown Live in a 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series women's elimination match. This match will feature, on the Raw side, the champion Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Alicia Fox, and Nia Jax. On the SmackDown side, the champion Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi. Mike, go ahead.
All right. Team SmackDown has to win one of these matches. Right? Mm-hmm. This is the one they win. This is the one they win. If they are smart, Nikki Bella, they need to feature Becky Lynch. Nikki Bella is not the linchpin, pun intended, SmackDown women's division. Becky is. And honest to God, Nikki Bella is not interesting right now. Until she puts over Carmella, interesting right now. So that being said, I'm going to take Team SmackDown, tentatively thinking that Becky Lynch is going to be the one who is the sole survivor here for Team SmackDown, because they have to get that women's division over. What do you have to do for Raw? The only goal for Raw is to get Bayley and Nia Jax over. You already had Sasha and Charlotte main event a pay-per-view in Hell in a Cell. You don't need any more featured in this match. They're already going to be the frontliners. The Team SmackDown is going to win this match. Becky and Bliss, that are kind of the ones featured here, and Carmella.
Yeah. I do agree with you. First of all, I think the only reason why Alicia Fox is in this match is to get the pin, take the pin. Which, of course, they didn't really have any other choices anyway. I think it's kind of absurd that if you look at the graphics on WWE.com, you have Charlotte as team captain and leading her group with the title in her hand, and on the SmackDown side, Nikki Bella standing there while title holder Becky is in back of her. Looks stupid to me, but whatever. We all know what the deal is there, obviously. So here's the thing. I agree with you, and I think what's going to end up happening is Charlotte and Sasha are going to take each other out. And then Nia Jax, and then you have Nia Jax, and Alicia Fox is going to be the one that gets pinned. Easily. She's going to be She's going to be like
traditional Brian.
Survivor
It's a
Series.
traditional.
I got it, Mike. I figured it out. I got it.
Elimination match.
I forgot about that. I'm thinking along the lines of a normal match. It happens every year. We go through this every year around Survivor Series. I F up, and then I have to correct myself. It happens. Oh, traditional Survivor Series match. All right, so Alicia Fox gets knocked out first. There you go. And then they'll do something with Nia Jax where she eliminates herself or something. I don't know. It should be Becky standing tall. For some reason, I don't see that. I think it's going to end up being Alexa Bliss because then it's going to have Alexa going on this momentum push. I just can't see Becky being the one. It should be Becky, but given the way that they book her and given the way as champion, she's basically a background character at this point. I think it's going to be more about Alexa than it's Becky. So I'm expecting Alexa Bliss to have a big night here, and who ends up standing tall as the last person? I'm guessing it's going to be Charlotte, but I don't know. That's a good question on the Raw side. Who ends up being the last person to get pinned? Will it be Sasha Banks so she can go to Charlotte and say, "Hey, look, I was the last person standing for our group"? Will it be Bayley? It ain't going to be Nia Jax. It ain't going to be Alicia Fox. So who will it be? That's a good question for the roster. But I do think SmackDown's going to win, and I'm going with Alexa Bliss being the lone survivor. That's what I'm going with. All right. Next up, we have the Intercontinental Championship match between The Miz, who is now the champion after a not quick, but a surprising title change on SmackDown Tuesday night, and Sami Zayn. So an inter-brand match. Obviously, if Sami Zayn wins, then the title more than likely goes to Raw. If he doesn't, then it stays put. This is an interesting match because with Ziggler, I'm sure Mike will agree with me on this. With Ziggler, I think you saw the potential for Zayn to win. I just can't see them having Miz win it and then drop it immediately. It's like, what's the point? It seems kind of pointless to do that. I'm thinking this match ends in a no contest. Either Ziggler interferes or there's some other kind of thing. And we don't get a solution, and then we don't get a result, I should say, and then this gets solved somehow either on SmackDown or Raw or at upcoming pay-per-view, where they just do an inter-brand match on one of the pay-per-views to decide it. I just don't see it happening. I don't know if I like the idea of it ending in a draw over having Sami Zayn lose, because it doesn't do anything for Sami Zayn to lose here. But I don't want Miz to lose here, so I do advocate for a draw. If you didn't have Miz win the title back, then Ziggler could have taken the loss. He's held it for over a month. I just don't like the idea of either one of these guys taking a loss right now. So I'm going with a draw here, a no contest, and then it gets resolved at a later time. Maybe Ziggler interferes, maybe not. It should be a cool match. The crowd, look, Miz and Zayn will get the crowd involved, so it'll be a cool match, and I hope they get a lot of time with it because, again, the crowd's going to be invested in it. But I don't think you're going to get an outcome here, and I hope you don't, because otherwise it's going to hurt one or the other here. So, Mike, go ahead.
I agree with you. I think I said last night when we were going over Black Friday stuff, we were talking about wrestling. For the people who don't know, we were looking at Black Friday stuff. That if it were Dolph Ziggler in this match, he would have lost the title to Sami Zayn. No question about it. No question. If Dolph had somehow retained over The Miz, he would have lost the Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn because I think Miz would have interfered here. Because Miz is the champion going in, there's no point in running the title change. There's also no point in having Sami Zayn lose. I agree with you, but I think SmackDown is going to get a win here. I feel like Miz is going to win by disqualification because Ziggler comes out and costs him. Because, look, the Spirit Squad are going to be there. This is going to be there. I think Dolph Ziggler is going to run out and screw Zayn, and that could be Dolph could be the guy Rusev wrestles. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like he has a match. But that being said, I think that Miz will retain by disqualification, keeps Sammy strong, and keeps Miz's title reign kind of moving forward. And it kind of buys into that storyline. Oh, Miz is afraid to fight. Miz fight even though he's the Grand Slam champion, has won all these. I'm Daniel Bryan. I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just some leftover resentment from the fact that Daniel Bryan is not. I don't feel like he's helping SmackDown right now. He's really not. And his like, because we all last night and to talk about a little bit later the main Survivor Series match. You mentioned it last night, and you're right that AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan have the same on the microphone. When they get flustered by a better talker, they just respond by going in and holding grudges. Like they go and attack the guy personally. The problem with AJ did it too. AJ and Bryan, they went up against better talkers. All that. Put it around on them. AJ did it to Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, and and Daniel Bryan's been doing it to the Miz. Most interesting thing about SmackDown right now. So why would you take the title off of him? So that being said, win by DQ. He retains the title. Dolph probably costs him. Bryan's like, oh, but Miz didn't win by pinfall. He beat Dolph Ziggler.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
Okay. Next up, we have Team Raw versus Team SmackDown Live in a 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series men's elimination match. Good news is I've already gotten my little error out of the way, so now I remember it's an elimination match, so no worries. For Team Raw, you have the Universal Champion Kevin Owens, U.S. Champion Roman Reigns, Chris Jericho, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman. And for Team SmackDown, you have World Heavyweight Champion AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Shane McMahon, of course, SmackDown Commissioner Shane McMahon, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton. Mike, go ahead.
Oh, you had to give me the Kevin Owens match. You're a pal. Oh,
I know.
Boy, you're a pal.
I know.
I think Raw too. And here's why. Because it gives Undertaker something to do over the next couple months. More or less, it gives Undertaker stuff to do. But that being said, I think it makes more sense storyline-wise for Raw to win here. I am biased towards Kevin Owens. I said earlier, Raw looked that segment on Raw, and even on SmackDown, AJ looked flustered. Got a promo after that. Like, Kevin Owens screwed him up good. Screwed him up good. And honest to God, Raw's the more interesting right now anyways. Number 2, the reason why Raw's going to win. Roman Reigns
I was going to say.
is on Team Raw. So, and if you don't know, Roman Reigns is currently Vince McMahon's favorite wrestler. If you haven't noticed.
Yeah, I think they have.
Oh, Triple H. His 2 favorite wrestlers are Raw. Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. But Raw's team's on Raw's team's on fire right now. SmackDown's team is kind of like I'm interested. See, the only SmackDown story that I'm interested in is the Wyatt Strowman thing. Interesting. Solidly, Team Raw is going to win here. I just don't know who's going to be the sole survivor.
Oh,
It
yeah.
has to be some sort of combination. It has to be some sort of combination of Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Owens. But I don't. SmackDown wins here. No, I don't see it.
I agree.
It means that SmackDown also wins the tag team match earlier on too. Then so be it. Raw wins here.
Yeah, I 100%. First of all, if I had any doubt about Raw winning, it was taken away by Undertaker on Tuesday night. Because that basically was, you guys fail, I'm going to go on a reign of terror, basically. And it sets up really well for the next couple of months what they want to do on SmackDown. Let's face it, SmackDown does need Undertaker. So, anyway, I am predicting it's going to be great. Well, first of all, you brought up the reasons outside of the Undertaker stuff that Raw is going to probably win. We know Triple H's favorites are on that side. Rollins, Owens. Vince's favorites are on that side. Roman Reigns, and of course Braun Strowman, Mike, because you know he likes Braun Strowman. So
Braun Strowman.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
I can't get too loud with my Vince McMahon.
So and look, here's the thing. I think it's going to be interesting to see the different angles and storylines involved. Like you mentioned, the Wyatt angle, and then of course you got Rollins, Reigns, and Ambrose. You got Shane McMahon and what the McMahon stuff and everything. And then you got AJ and Roman's history. You have AJ and Jericho's history. You have AJ and Owens. There's a lot of different things involved, and it makes it interesting. And I keep thinking that somehow the Shane Brock Lesnar stuff might spill into this somehow. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's got to be a reason they kept Shane in the match. Now, you mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and we'll be talking about the Brock Lesnar-Goldberg match in a minute. You mentioned this a couple weeks ago. If they flip-flop this, now I'm expecting Brock Goldberg to main event. I really, really am. I don't think it should. I think this match should, but I do think it will. If it doesn't, however, then I think that pretty much confirms Brock might get involved here. I think that almost confirms it. So, that would be interesting to see. That might be a giveaway if you see the match order flip during the show on Sunday. As it stands, so I think another big question is going to be just like the women's match. Who is the lone survivor for each team? Or if there's any lone survivor, who survives? Who's the last people standing? I think Roman's definitely going to be one of them because Roman's going to be challenging for the Universal title over the next couple months. They're going to want to make him look strong, even if he wasn't, they still make him look strong. To me, I could end up seeing Reigns, Rollins, and Owens still standing tall for Raw, and AJ being the last guy up for SmackDown. I could see Raw ending up with 3 guys still left. Because I don't think they want to weaken any of those guys. Jericho can take a pin and be okay. Braun Strowman, they'll probably run some kind of Rusev-type deal with him. And I could see everybody else for SmackDown getting eliminated but AJ. Because they obviously value AJ. Went over Cena how many times? It ain't going to be Orton still at the end. It ain't going to be Bray Wyatt at the end. The only 2 guys you could see still up for SmackDown at the end is Ambrose and Styles. And Styles is the champion, so you figure he'll be the last one up. So I'm gonna guess that it ends with Reigns pinning AJ Styles. That's what I'm gonna say. But either way, I think Raw wins. All right, the match I expect to main event, for better or worse. They're calling it the Mega Match: Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. I'm gonna be quick about this match. I think.
Hold on. It was such a mega match that when they ran it at WrestleMania 20, the crowd booed loudly. The crowd loved that match a long time ago.
Oh yes.
No, they didn't.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be quick about this match because I think this match is gonna be quick. This is why I don't think it's your main event. I honestly think if this match lasts more than 10 minutes, I'll be shocked. Because now I've seen a lot of people thinking this was a booking thing. I do not think it was a booking thing. You're already hearing that Goldberg tweaked his shoulder. Yeah, he's okay. He's going to work the match. But, look, he does not look like he's going to do very well in this match. Okay? I do not think it's a booking thing. I really, truly think he's not going to do well in this match. Brock Lesnar's going to suplex him about 10 times, and that's going to be about it. It's going to be it's probably going to look a lot like the Cena match at SummerSlam a couple years ago. Maybe a lot shorter than that, but kind of similar. It's a waste of a spot. I understand. I think the only reason it's happening is because it's the one blemish for Brock. Oh, well, Goldberg beat you, blah, blah, blah. They want to get that over with, and they'll get it over with. Brock's going to win the match. And, again, I don't think it should main event, but it's probably going to. So I'm hoping I'm wrong and you end up getting something out of it. Like, I truly, truly am, but I don't think you are. So Brock Lesnar in what should be a really, really displeasing match, I'd assume. Mike, go ahead.
Look, Brock, good match. God, I don't even know when last time Brock Lesnar had a good match.
Maybe the CM Punk match.
CM Punk match. The Rollins, Cena, Lesnar triple threat was pretty good. Yeah. Roman at WrestleMania was all right. So I don't see. The thing is, problem with this is very similar to what they had at WrestleMania 20. At WrestleMania 20, it got out so both Brock Lesnar and Goldberg were leaving the company. So that was their last match for at least the time being for both of them. And the only person going over in that match was really the special guest referee, who was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, first major pieces of news that kind of leaked on the internet. And Madison Square Garden was a smart crowd who walked out. They came out to a chorus of boos. Now, that won't happen really this time. The thing is, Brock's going to disappear for a while. Last match.
Yeah.
Barking. So,
yes.
Mega match that we've seen once before, and it wasn't great then. After that match, they're both gone again. Brock Lesnar's coming back. Bill Goldberg is not.
Right.
Goldberg is going to give Brock his win back. They're going to be tied until the end of time. This is the last Goldberg match you're going to get. Going above and beyond with his promos. And his promos had really this run. Goldberg was not a promo guy. Goldberg was an ass-kicking guy. I don't think it's going to be as much of an ass-kicking as you think it is. It'll probably be a closer match because you're going to want Brock to kind of look vulnerable. Brock to look vulnerable if you're going to throw Shane McMahon at him. As stupid as an idea as that is, you need Brock to look vulnerable so people believe that there's a chance at beating Brock Lesnar. But whatever. That being said, to win this match, there's no doubt about it. It probably won't be super long, but it might be intense for a while.
Yeah. Okay. My dog apparently wants to be part of the show tonight. All right, so we've gone over all the matches. Again, we can't preview or predict any kickoff matches because none have been announced, so we won't do anything with that. So there wasn't a lot of matches. That's small card. So now we'll move on to questions and comments from our fans here. We'll start off with one which has been a pretty big source of discussion this week. And it's an interesting one. one I think my co-host probably did not hear about. I'm trying to pull up this. Hang on, I'm trying to pull up our email thing here. So it's been rumored. There isn't an exact source for this, so take it with a grain of salt, okay? But it's been rumored, and apparently this is based on a YouTube clip. So again, take it with a big grain of salt. That Rosa Mendez makes double what Sasha Banks earns.
Was that a
why?
That must have been, hold on. That must have been a question. Sure, video viewer.
Okay, so here's the complete question. It's been speculated on YouTube videos and in other places that Rosa Mendez makes twice as much as Sasha Banks. How do you justify this?
Okay, all right. This person got their jimmies rustled and nettled by there's a What Culture wrestling video that came out yesterday, a couple of days ago. Whereas the video is called 10 WWE Salaries You Won't Believe. And it is narrated by amazing YouTube person Adam Blampied. He's smooth voice. He's great. And in that video, Sasha Banks, this might explain her contract, has not signed a main event roster contract. She's just generally making the standard $140,000.
Right.
She's making the standard developmental deal. She obviously, for somebody with two main roster title reigns on her plate, she's getting right now. Now it's weird you say that because Charlotte almost double that as well. But then again, Charlotte has name value. Sasha Banks came in cold. She's pretty much she's kind of operating off of a similar deal that she had when she came in. But when her deal comes up, we get paid more.
Right.
Discussion. As for Rosa Mendez, if you had watched the video, you would have noticed that Adam Blampied with the silky smooth British voice had said in the company for almost 10
right.
Overpaid a lot of those model types who came in. Rosa Mendez was a model type who came in, who was really a mid-card manager. Also, she had a lot of connections with a lot of people in power. Michael Hayes and Kevin Dunn are people that really like her. When it comes time for payment, they will go to bat for Rosa Mendez. So that's how Rosa Mendez is making $500,000 a year despite not having been on television long before she got pregnant. She's also on Total Divas. The other source of her income comes from. She has a general Total Divas contract as well. Hence, the inflated total. If Sasha Banks is on Total Divas, her paycheck would go up significantly as well. Clear some things up for you. Right. It's not something. Although if I were Sasha Banks to go to Triple H and be like, "What the fuck, H's? What the fuck?"
You said it better than I could, and again, I really don't have a reply. That was perfect. All right, here's a story I know about, but it's been discussed at length today. WWE will be going 4-4 for the Big Four pay-per-view, starting with WrestleMania 33. Do you think this approach will blow up in their faces? Won't the crowd be burned out after 4 straight days of WWE? So, okay, let me just explain this. What the 4-4 thing is this. The NXT TakeOver shows you have an NXT TakeOver show the night before every Big Four pay-per-view. Starting with WrestleMania 33. That will be on Saturday. You have the WWE pay-per-view on Sunday, Raw on Monday, SmackDown on Tuesday, and they'll be packaging them all together 4 nights we made available for each one of these events. So basically, the idea, I guess, behind this is for bidding cities to see the potential it'll create more interest with the bidding cities because it's 4 nights of WWE, and they think that will bring a huge potential economic impact to whatever city bids on these events. So basically, people are thinking that, again, this question is, do you think this will burn out people and it'll blow up in WWE's face? So, Mike, there's the question.
Running all these events is going to burn out people?
Doing 4 straight nights of, big event, yeah.
NXT, Survivor Series, Raw, SmackDown.
I mean, it's going to happen for all the big ones, yeah.
Hey, here's what's going to happen. Just general predictions. People are going to be hype as hell for NXT. Or 2, Asuka, Mickie James, Bobby Roode showing up. People are going to be hype as hell for NXT. So, day 1, people are interested. A lot of hype going in. WWE shows after NXT shows, not as great as the night before. Okay. Where people start losing interest is because Raw and SmackDown aren't generally as good. Have big angles planned and keep the show fairly interesting all the way through. Won't be an issue. But they have to have big angles planned. They have to keep things kind of interesting. They have to kind of move forward with a lot of cool shit. Don't. That's what's going to happen. People are going to get sick of it, but they're not going to get sick of it because it's 4 days of wrestling. They're going to get sick of it because the after pay-per-view shows are not interesting. There for the first 2 nights.
Right.
What do you give us on nights 3 and 4 that keep us there?
You know, I think I think what it comes down to is this. Even a crowd that's burned out can react still if you give them something to react to. Unless you're in a really crappy location. They're going to be hot for NXT. We know that, okay? They're going to be hot for the main pay-per-view as long as you give them something. Maybe not quite as much as NXT, but they probably, again, if it's a big event like WrestleMania, they will be. And Monday Night Raw, especially at night after WrestleMania, they'll be there. They'll be, I think the one that gets hurt probably the most is SmackDown, because SmackDown kind of falls into that kind of rut where, if you have, let's say NXT is amazing, like, you would expect. Let's say whatever pay-per-view is on Sunday night is a very good pay-per-view. And let's say Raw gives you a bunch of surprise and ends up being a fairly decent Raw. Well, no matter what SmackDown does, chances are it's not going to live up to the 3 previous nights. I don't care. I mean, again, it sets an impossible, standard, I think, in a lot of ways. For it's a show that I don't think can meet that unless they do something really, really out of the box. You know what I mean? So I think SmackDown ends up being the one that gets hurt the most. Because whoever goes on last is going to be the one that gets hurt the most. Like little by the law of averages says little by little, it's going to, night by night, you're going to lose a little bit more. So by the time you get to that 4th night, it's going to be like, ugh. But you got to remember something too. How many of these people, I understand, outside the people that do 4-night packages, and not everybody's going to do a 4-night package. Okay, not everybody's going to do that. I'm sure a good amount of people will. Yes, that's true. But not everybody's going to do that. So I think you have to consider that too. That there might be some people that just do WrestleMania and Raw, or some people that just do NXT and WrestleMania. And so, you know what I mean? So you got to remember that too. It's not an all or nothing kind of thing. So, all right, what else here? What else? It's being reported that The Undertaker is now back permanently. However, he will not be working a full-time schedule. What kind of schedule do you envision The Undertaker working? And do you think that WrestleMania 33 will be the end of his run?
Not super full there generally every week, and no. Undertaker will probably. Will it be the Mania he does? There's a good chance. Is it going to be his last match? No.
It's already been reported that he's not working house shows. So that was pretty much a given. I think we all assume that. I think what you're going to see from Undertaker, I think he'll work the next SmackDown pay-per-view, or maybe he'll just be involved in it. He's going to work the Rumble. He probably won't work the February pay-per-view. He'll work WrestleMania, and then maybe you'll see him appear at some. I think you're going to see him do what Cena's been doing, where he comes in. Like right now, he'll come in for a little bit. You might not see him in February, except for here and there. He'll work WrestleMania. He'll disappear after WrestleMania, come back in time for SummerSlam, disappear for maybe a few weeks, come back for Survivor Series, and then work to Mania. I think his last match will be WrestleMania 34. I don't think it'll be this year. I no longer think that anymore. The way he acted in that promo on Tuesday night made me think that he wants to have one more good, decent run. Where it's kind of like, okay, I came back for like a year or so, and it wasn't just WrestleMania. I worked a couple pay-per-views. I did more than what I usually do, and it kind of gets. I think he doesn't like the fact that people are kind of looking at him like, well, geez, the only reason why you're hanging on is because of WrestleMania. I think he's trying to get rid of that kind of stigma. So he comes back, he does like a full good year of like back and forth, and I think that's going to be it. And there's probably a short list of guys, he'll want to work with, like AJ Styles, John Cena, et cetera, But I mean, that's the way I see it going. But he's not going to work full time. He can't because it's just not. It's going to be too much for him. Let's see. What are your guys' thoughts on where this Randy Orton Bray Wyatt angle is headed? Do you think it's potentially headed for a WrestleMania blow-off match to the feud where Randy Orton finally turns on Bray Wyatt? Or do you think that this is a long-standing character development change for Randy Orton?
Did they just suggest long-standing character development change for Randy Orton?
Yeah, they did.
How long have they been watching wrestling?
Probably not long enough.
I'm pretty sure this person needs to go back and watch the Daniel Bryan angle from a while ago. This one's just going to take longer to do because they're letting this one breathe out. They'll need to see Randy Orton kind of destroy Bray Wyatt. They can let this story out. So that being said, Randy Orton's not going to change. It's just the thing. Eventually he's going to take out Wyatt, and they'll have their big loft match soon.
Yeah, I see. Remember, people forget that the Daniel Bryan thing was supposed to last a lot longer. It's just that they panicked because people were crapping all over it, and that was a time of WWE with a lot of things. People were just up in arms, and I am starting to think though the reason. Remember, and Mike will tell you this feud was probably supposed to last only a few months and move on to something else. I think what then ultimately happened is they decided that they had nothing else for either one of these guys. I mean, for a while you were hearing they might do Orton Styles, but they kind of backed off that real quick. And then I guess they realized they had nothing else for Bray Wyatt because they weren't going to put him in the title picture before WrestleMania. So once they realized that, I think they came to this determination, let's try to drag this out. I kind of do think that these two are going to be a WrestleMania match now. I do. Orton's going to take some time off after Survivor Series because his wife is having a baby. So you can drag this out, and I kind of do think that's what this is headed. I think you're headed towards Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. He'll turn on him. Maybe Orton gets a win on Bray, and then they do the blow-off match at WrestleMania where Bray gets a big win, and we move on. And then after that, you're gone beyond WrestleMania, and you can kind of mess with things a little bit. But the fact that because I don't think this was part of the original angle. I think this was their way of extending the angle. And they didn't want it to be like the Bryan angle where they quickly turned it around, or like the Rollins angle where Randy Orton came back and we had about 2 weeks where he was kind of like acting like he was still supportive when he wasn't. They wanted to make it look like legitimately Randy Orton has turned, and then they'll, pull the rug out from under him. They might do it in the Rumble. Who knows? I don't know if they can sustain it that long because the people are already kind of bored with it, but whatever. Never stopped them before. Let's see. Get a good one here. Of course, it's Survivor Series, so we get this every year around this time. If you were booking WrestleMania, name your top 5 matches on the card.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
It's that fantasy booking question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens versus or Sami Zayn. AJ Styles versus The Miz. Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins versus Triple H. Undertaker versus John Cena, only if The Undertaker wins. Matches. Also, good. Becky Lynch over Nikki Bella. Extra one. And Enzo and Cass finally unseating the New Day. Extras. You're welcome.
Kevin Owens, Brock Lesnar. Rock versus Miz. Owens, Brock Lesnar be the Universal title match, obviously. Rock versus Miz for the heavyweight championship. Because I've wanted that match for like 8 years. So, I'd go with Cena versus Undertaker. Obviously, Taker winning. Give it. Let's see. I said that's 3, right? That's 3. I have to throw a Divas match in there. I'll say Sasha Banks versus Bayley because I like their matches. And one more. Who am I? You know what I'd like to see? And it's not going to happen. This is fantasy booking, so I can make it do whatever I want. For some reason, I'd like to see. It's again not going to happen. Rollins versus Nakamura. I would like to see that. I don't know why. And that's probably the first time I've mentioned that, but I would. So I'd say that one. If it won't happen this year, but So there you go. Who, if anyone, do you see from NXT participating in the Rumble and maybe making their debut at WrestleMania this year?
Samoa Joe.
Yep. Easy. That one's easy. I agree. And that's all I can say about it. We'll move on. That's an easy one. Well, here's a good question, especially in light of what you said earlier tonight. Do you see WWE sticking with the current GM commissioner lineups for each brand past WrestleMania?
I think Stephanie and Mick Foley are likely to be together. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. I think Mick kind of stays on because I think Mick has more to offer.
Right.
And I don't see them kind of switching Stephanie off. Like the fact that they're not going full heel with Stephanie. He's neutral line. You just kind of run a lot of the story through Mick, and again, that works best. Really doesn't offer anything, because if he can't cut promos on dudes and not get insulted, then I don't know how to help him, because again, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles have the same issue.
Yeah.
Flustered, they can't cut a good promo. It's because when AJ Styles dropped the sugar tit thing, Kevin Owens just ripped him apart.
Yeah.
And then Chris Jericho ripped him apart. Like, it was brutal.
Yeah.
It was odd. It's like Miz part on that talking, and Daniel Bryan still isn't over.
Yeah.
Miz is the only interesting thing really on SmackDown. Daniel Bryan, and the story is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that being said, I think Mick and Stephanie McMahon are more likely to stay together.
Yeah.
Than Bryan and.
Well, I think it's obvious, since Shane is. It's looking like Shane's going to face Lesnar at Mania. If that's going to happen, I think that's the end of Shane McMahon on SmackDown. So that one speaks for itself. But, I think it shows. But let's be honest here. I think it shows who's happy with what they're doing and who's not. You know, Mike, hasn't Mick wanted to be a GM for a couple years now? So Mick wanted this, and he got it. And Daniel Bryan wanted to be in ring, and he didn't get that. And WWE wouldn't let him out of the contract, and now he's stuck doing a job that's close to what he wants to do, but it's not really what he wants to do. So I think in a lot of ways that displeasure is kind of leaking out into what he's doing. And I think that's a problem. And WWE should have known that going in, that, you're putting this guy in a position. He hates this. He hates that he's that close to a wrestling. You remember when he retired. He didn't want to be near wrestling because it was too much of a temptation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when he was announced as a general manager, everybody's like, what? Like, why would he agree to that? But again, it's his contract. He wants to have a child. He wants to be a father. He has to make money somehow. So there you go. He had to do it. He's under contract. So now he's doing a job that he hates. That's kind of like torture for him, because he's so close to being in the ring. And in fact, he's in the ring. He just can't do anything. So there you go. I think it's pretty obvious. One's unhappy and one likes what they're doing. And I agree with you. Stephanie being neutral is very helpful. I don't know how long it's going to. I don't know how long it's going to last. But remember, a couple months ago, it looked like it wasn't going to last very long at all. And since then, it's gotten better. It seems like they kind of realized, okay, we need to back her off. We don't want to do a authority like war here. We want to keep everybody on the same page. And they kind of got away from it. And it got better. The dynamic got better between her and Mick. So I think they did the right thing. So I agree with you. I think you're going to see Mick and Stephanie still in place. Shane will be gone, and I think Daniel Bryan by next summer will be gone. I do. I think they'll realize it's not working, and you'll find somebody else. By the way, Justin sent me a text because remember we were talking about like our dream card for WrestleMania.
Prediction. It says, "Oh Canada."
No,
is it right?
He said Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns battle for Vince's heart.
That's actually a pretty good call.
Good match. Good match. No doubt that will be the main event. Oh, goodness. There's been a lot of talk about Chris Jericho's status of late and how he's basically with WWE on a month-by-month basis. It's now appearing like he's going to be staying on through WrestleMania. with it looking more and more likely that he's staying on through WrestleMania, and also looking more and more likely that they're not splitting up him and Kevin Owens anytime soon. I wouldn't say that, but anyway, with that looking more and more likely, who would you book as Jericho's WrestleMania opponent?
Not Kevin Owens. In fact, if it's Owens versus The Rock or Brock, I would have Jericho kind of involved in that a little bit, even though eventually you want Owens to kind of get that one on his own. Probably might end up with a... Okay, Brian's gone again. Jericho might end up with a inter promotional match. Like he might get, I don't know, AJ Styles, or he might get Miz or somebody like that, you know. So I think Jericho gets an interpromotional kind of match here. So that's all I really had to say. So Brian can come back literally anytime. Also, Jericho's amazing. And if you don't like Jericho, then you could just be on that damn list, man. Okay. I don't know why he left. Answer.
I had to take care of a dog issue. Sorry.
Sure.
All right. You know, I agree with you. I think, okay, there's a number of ways you can look at this. If they insist upon keeping these two together, then Jericho should probably be involved with Kevin Owens somehow. If they don't, or if they keep them together, but they kind of want Kevin Owens to stand on his own for whoever his match is, which I can understand, you know what I mean? Then you could go back to if Sami Zayn's still around, you could do that. You could do, you could have him challenge Roman Reigns again, but that'd be kind of repetitive. If him and Owens were split by Mania and Miz somehow ended up on Raw, I'd like to see Jericho Miz. That'd be okay. I mean, I guess it really depends on, like, if you have a face that doesn't have a feud, or if Jericho's turned face by, which is entirely possible, and you have a heel without a feud, and Jericho's that easy go-to guy to give somebody a feud and make it matter somehow. So, I mean, I guess it really just depends what you're looking at that point. And I know it's a crappy answer, but let's see. We'll do two more, and then we're going to close out. Do you expect any surprise returns on the road to WrestleMania that could translate into a surprise match?
The Rock.
Yeah, I agree.
Why not? I'm just going for it.
First of all, the way he's answering questions lately kind of indicates something might be there. I mean, I might be reading too much into it, but the way he's answering questions kind of makes you think. You know what I mean? That there could be something. I mean, obviously Brock's on the card, Triple H's on the card, Undertaker's already back. We know Cena's going to be back. I think he's the only one that really makes sense. I don't think I'll take this back. I'll take that back. I think Hulk Hogan will probably be back. But I don't think he'll be in a match. But I think Hulk Hogan will be back. No, but Hogan will be back, and maybe he'll be like the host again or something like that. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Make an appearance, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be – I think you'll see Hogan in some way. There's a lot of talk about somebody from UFC coming in, like Ronda Rousey or Conor McGregor. I do think one or the other is going to be in I don't have any confirmed word or anything, but there's been a lot of talk. And look, with Brock Lesnar appearing in UFC, regardless of how that ended up, and that it did end up getting ugly. We all know that. But I do think WWE probably was going to. I always assumed WWE would end up getting something in return for that. I mean, a lot of people think, well, they already had Rousey before that, so is that like making up for it? I don't know. having Rousey make an appearance versus having Brock actually do a fight in UFC, there seems like there has to be something bigger than just a Rousey appearance with The Rock. So I'm kind of thinking you're going to get something with a UFC star too. I mean, maybe it'll be just another appearance, but I do think you'll get something along those lines at Mania, more than likely. So I'd look out for that too, probably. All right, last question, and then we're going to move on here. Move on. We're going to line down, so I should say. So, all right. Let's see here. I don't like that question. That's kind of repetitive too. Nah. Well, this would be a better question for next time, but we'll ask it right now. We're coming close to the end of the year. Who is your most improved talent, and who is your most disappointing talent? That's a good question. I like that one.
Most improved is 100% The Miz. And it's not like he's doing anything different. It's just now that he's motivated and has direction and is doing something. 100% most improved talent. I don't know if you agree with that, but whatever. Pointing talent, Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler.
Okay.
Miz got out of him, but after that SummerSlam match, I don't know. Dolph at the moment. He's Dolph Ziggler, but
My most improved Braun Strowman.
Oh, him too. I agree with
Braun Strowman. Yeah. I think Miz. I mean, you can put Miz on a most improved. I think Miz is just motivated. Ever since Maurice came back, he's been a different. I think it's just. It was like a spark. You know what I mean? And then after that, they gave him the brand split, and then it kind of just took off from there. But Braun Strowman, I think, has grown leaps and bounds in the last few months. It's remarkable to look at him right now and to see this. I also think Roman's improved a lot in the ring, especially since the AJ Styles feud. I would give Roman a nod, and the other person I would give an improvement nod to. And this is a surprise to me because I just lost my train of thought. Wow. Oh, nice. Carmella. I think Carmella's gotten a lot better. So, my most disappointing, if you had asked me a couple months ago, I would have said Dean Ambrose because I was very disappointed, but he's kind of come around, so I'll leave that one alone. I think Ziggler is a given. He was awful at SummerSlam. He got a golden opportunity, and he messed it up. And then he gets another golden opportunity with this great feud with The Miz. And as soon as he beats The Miz, he just didn't maximize his time. He just didn't. I mean, I know he's kind of. I think Dolph's just like it's there for the paycheck at this point. So it doesn't, So I'll say Ziggler. I mean, if you from a non-wrestling standpoint, Daniel Bryan.
I agree with that.
If you want to throw somebody out there that's not in the ring, because I'm really, really disappointed there. That's been horrible. And I'll just throw one more out there. Gallows and Anderson. Granted,
I have to disagree with you on that, but I'll let you explain it.
Look, they've had. I will acknowledge this. They've had terrible booking. They have not been handled well. That's a given. But even they're in. Okay, I'll leave Anderson alone because Anderson's been okay in ring. Gallows, especially when he first came to WWE, back to WWE, for that first 6 months, he was miserable in the ring. He was making botches left and right. So it's kind of like a twofold thing. Like they haven't handled him well, but I don't think they perform well even in spots where they could have performed well. Oh, one more. I'll just say it because it needs to be said. Sasha Banks has been kind of awful to me. Compared to how she was in NXT, she's been disappointing. She was much better in NXT. Now she's been kind of sloppy and she's been awful on the mic. And on the flip side, I think Charlotte's been great and much improved. And Bailey's a disappointment too. Just look at that Raw Talk segment from 2 weeks ago, and you'll know why. Okay, I'm done.
I disagree with you on Anderson and Gallows, mostly because, okay, I agree with you on Gallows. For them has been absolutely terrible. Should have been the ones who have beaten. Should have been the ones who have beaten the New Day.
Oh yeah.
The fact they weren't is extraordinarily disappointing. Being said, I give Anderson a pass because he's done really well. Gallows up his game up. They need to win more, and they just need to be ass kickers. That's all. I mean, it's easy. Just make them ass kickers.
Yeah,
really.
I liked it when they first came in. I think they had it right. At least they were trending in the right direction. They were more like these. Were they kind of like these mercenaries? That was kind of like what they were, and that worked so much better. It's right around the time they got involved with the New Day. It kind of went downhill, really. Well, also during the Roman program when they were basically sacrificial lambs, for Roman Reigns, so that AJ wouldn't be the one getting destroyed all the time. But anyway, all right, so that's it. We did like 10 of them. That's good. We don't usually do that, but we had time, so I let it go. All right, so with that, we're done. Again, if we didn't address a question or comment that you submitted, we do keep them. We might use them on a future show. You can also always resubmit them. Again, we save them. We do as many as time permits. So please don't be offended if we didn't use something that you sent in. We just do only so many. So again, you can resubmit them, or we do save them if they're relevant, or if we feel like they're worth. Again, I try to pick ones that are relevant to what's going on. So if they're not, I probably won't do it. But you can always resubmit them. So all right. So if that being said, we are done for tonight. As always, the show might be over. It does not mean you have to stop interacting and contributing to our show. You continue to have your voice heard, and it's your feedback, your questions about the show, scheduling the show, topic ideas, breaking news items related to sports, entertainment, or wrestling that you want us to cover. Reactions, comments, or opinions on things we say on the show, things we talk about. Any of these things you can do by email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtags, hashtag ITSpotlight411, or you can create your own hashtag as long as it starts with hashtag ITS. That helps promote our show. We do appreciate that. Also, we would encourage you to try not to be disrespectful, insulting, or offensive in anything you tweet. That doesn't mean you can't tweet negative comments at us or something like that. I want good feedback. I want honest feedback. But there's a difference between constructive criticism and being horrible. And plus, don't be horrible to each other. There's enough of that in the world. So that's why we encourage you to do that. Because there's enough negativity going on. We don't need to add to it. And you can also follow us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 401 on Facebook and make sure you like our page upon finding it. We encourage you to follow us on social media, Facebook and Twitter, for the latest information about our show, especially when it comes to scheduling with the football shows on Fridays. And obviously, just any show we do, sometimes there's postponements, delays, last-minute changes, all that kind of stuff. Best way to get that information is on social media, on Facebook and Twitter. Obviously, we post other things on there too, so very important to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, so make sure you do that. If you'd like to keep up with our show, look back at classic episodes, whatever the case may be, you have a number of ways in which to do that. If you're a fan of seeing our wonderful faces on screen, maybe you like streaming better than just listening to us, or maybe you're only interested in newer episodes of our show. Whatever the case may be, you can find us on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411, and you will have access to the episodes that we produced for Google Plus and YouTube over the last year. So everything from mid-October of 2015 all the way to tonight's episode, all those episodes are available for you on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, search for In the Spotlight 411 on Google Plus and YouTube, and you will find all those episodes. You can also, if you're a fan maybe of audio podcasts, maybe you don't like to see us on screen, and that's your prerogative. I can understand that. Maybe you just want to listen to us on the go. You just prefer audio podcasts, whatever the case may be. Or maybe you're just interested in older episodes of our show as well. If any of that applies to you, you can find us on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on both those sites, and you'll have access not only our Google Plus and YouTube episodes, which have been transferred into audio for your convenience, but you'll also have access to every episode we've ever done over the last 6 years of our show. Everything from Blog Talk Radio to Talk Show to now Google Plus and YouTube. Every episode we've ever done in 6 years of our show. Everything from October 2010 all the way up until tonight's episode is available to you in order from the most recent episode to the oldest. So, if you're a longtime fan, maybe you want to check out an older episode of the show that you haven't listened to in a while. Maybe you're a new fan and wants to look at an old episode for the first time. Maybe you just want to keep up with episodes. Maybe missed a few recently or missed part of an episode. Whatever the case may be, if any of that applies to you, you can find us on Podbean and iTunes, and just search for In the Spotlight 411 on both those sites, and you'll have access to every episode we've ever done. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, all ways to keep up with the show, look back at classic episodes. So make sure you utilize those resources if you're interested. Again, Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, all available to you. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on all those sites. I want to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike.
It's time for bed. Let's go.
Thank myself for another great show. Pat myself on the back, and thank all of you for your continued support and your contributions. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your patience and understanding and your viewership, your listenership, as always. That is it for tonight. Again, tomorrow, In the Spotlight Football Blitz is scheduled for 3 o'clock from Eastern Time tomorrow. We're moving a half hour back. I figured I might as well just announce this. I'll just do it. So 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, In the Spotlight Football Blitz. We'll look back at last weekend in college football and the NFL. Look ahead to this week, college football playoff rankings, all that good stuff. Tomorrow we'll talk about tonight's Thursday Night Football, all that tomorrow. And then again, next week, only 2 shows, both of which will be on Tuesday, November the 22nd. This coming Tuesday, November the 22nd. 2 shows in one day. We'll have the In the Spotlight Football Blitz, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll have our usual Tuesday night primetime show, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have sports, anything other than football that we have to cover, entertainment, TV highlights, box office beat, any other entertainment news we have time for that we want to cover. And, of course, we'll have the fallout from WWE Survivor Series, Monday Night Raw, all of that coming at you on Tuesday. So 2 shows on Tuesday, one at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the Football Blitz. And then one at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, our usual Tuesday night primetime show. We will be preempted next Thursday and Friday. And then the following week, we'll be back on track with our usual 3 shows in the same time slots, Tuesday, Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and then, of course, Football Blitz on Friday. So that's what's coming up next week and the week after. Also, what's coming up tomorrow. I hope you all have a great rest of your night. We'll see you back here for the In the Spotlight Football Blitz, 3 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow here on YouTube. Until then, have a good night, everybody.